Hello and welcome to another episode of Trending, brought to you in association with Iconic Coffee. If you head over to shop.iconic.com, use the code TRENDING, you get 10% off. How you doing, Richard Willett? You okay, mate?
I'm good, thank you. My earpiece just popped out. I haven't got a really weird tick going on, but I sorted it
Okay.
now. Yep.
Yeah, as long as it's only your earpiece that pops out. Um,
Yep.
right, let's start with Trump. I know what people are thinking. Oh, you're obsessed with Trump again. It's just, I find it funny now. I'm at this point, right? So this is the headline. Trump says Ukraine will receive more weapons after the US pause on shipments. Obviously, they paused shipments, but the Nobel Peace Prize has gone to his head, Richard, quite clearly. So he needs to send more arms to Ukraine. Obviously, there's another meaning behind it, but we'll get to that. During a meeting with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, I'm sure it was a meeting, was it? It was a conversation with his handler. Trump said he was not happy with Russia's Vladimir Putin, and Ukraine was getting hit very hard. Don't like it when people get hit hard, depending on who they are, of course. Trump also indicated the US would send primarily defensive weapons to help Ukraine's war effort. Among the armaments reported to have been placed on pause last week were Patriot air defense missiles and precision artillery shells. Ukraine's Volodymyr Zelensky had appealed. He's always appealing, isn't he? He'd appealed for more shipments to continue, describing the Patriot system as a real protector of life. How about just some peace negotiations at some point rather than going around the world begging for people's tax dollars and pounds and euros? The White House said last week the decision had been made to put America's interests first. Really? In response to a Defense Department review of military support to other countries. So obviously he's tried to appease his MAGA base for a bit, the one that he's been betraying since he basically came back into power, by saying, no, we're going to put America first now. Yeah, we've bombed Iran and stuff on behalf of Israel, but ignore that. It's now it's America. It starts now. It's America first. And then obviously Netanyahu arrives in America, and the Epstein list suddenly doesn't exist anymore despite being on their desk 5 minutes ago and all that kind of stuff. And the talk is obviously about Iran and stuff. And I don't know if you saw this, Rich, but Netanyahu met with Hegseth, who's the Secretary of Defense for America. And they're basically discussing the involvement that America had with Iran. So, you know, it seems pretty obvious to me that's part of the reason why Netanyahu's there, is to kind of try and, you know, get the ball rolling again in terms of going back for Iran. We spoke about it a couple of days ago, that rhetoric in terms of their nuclear program will almost certainly start again. Now Netanyahu's had a little word in his ear. So when I saw this, Rich, my instant thought was, okay, so if I want to go for Iran, right, that's my goal. I want to go for Iran. Now I need to isolate them. So who are their allies? Well, their key ally is Russia. And it's already been said that Russia would come in and help them, whether it be with shipments of arms or whatever. So I need to do something to distract the Russians. So if I can send a bunch of arms to Ukraine, bear in mind he was going to stop that war in 24 hours, wasn't he? I send another load of arms to Ukraine to prolong that battle between Ukraine and Russia, to keep Russia occupied, to keep them distracted, so that they can't then come in on the side of Iran when we inevitably, because it's the plan, go for Iran again. That was my take on it, Rich. It's about getting ducks in a row a little bit.
Completely agree, especially the prolonging part of it. That, to me, is key. Kicking the can down the road while all the AI infrastructure gets in place, which they've just come out yesterday and said they're going to join AI infrastructure in terms of power, energy, and many other things with Israel. All the while in the background, the US are in the pocket with China anyway, with 46,000 papers shared between them. So this, I believe, I think you're completely right. It's kicking the can down the road. This is prolonging. The longer this goes on, the more money they can funnel into the military-industrial complex and keep it whirling away, which basically keeps our economy going. But this is about prolonging the situation. And it depends on where you see the Russians in terms of what their kind of end goal is. We know Putin's involved with these bad guys. But again, he's surrounded by people that don't believe he is. And, you know, this is complex in terms of what they have to appear to be doing and really doing in the long term go, I don't trust Putin in any way, shape, or form. Especially, as I said, I think it was last week, said, what better way to drop Iran in it than say, oh, look, they're backed up by Russia, and you turn around and, the Russian team have left the football pitch and you're just standing on your own.
Which is kind
Yeah.
of what happened with Syria, isn't it? If we're honest.
Yeah. So I think that's part of it. I think it's what it's all about there is getting other countries to be reliant upon other powers, and then they can pull that power out or use them to abuse them, really. So the US now does that, but also who really controls the US? Israel. So it always comes back to that sort of situation. So this kind of chess game really is not about the pawn that's on the table. It's about who's pulling it around and pushing it around, and who's whispering in that person's ear who's playing the game. There's many layers to this, but I think you're right in terms of that is prolonging it.
Yeah, I think the the kickoff again with Iran is inevitable. I'm waiting for that false flag, and it's coming. It's 100% coming. Talking about AI though, and I guess Israel in a sense, because if you call out Israel, it's anti-Semitic. That's something that they've used as a shield for as long as I can remember, to be honest. And it used to work. Like it seriously used to work, because no one likes being called an anti-Semite. Same way that no one likes being called an Islamophobe if they want to call out certain parts of Islam, and no one wants to be called a transphobe if they have an issue with radical leftist gender ideology or whatever. No one likes being called names. But then what happens is when you get called a name so many times, it loses all meaning, because in the end you go, yeah, I've heard that before, mate. And so it's the same with Islamophobia. Someone says, oh yeah, he's Islamophobic. My thought now isn't, oh my God, what a bad person. It's, go on, what did he say? Did he say something that's probably not that bad? And I'm the same with anti-Semitism. They say, oh, so-and-so is an anti-Semite. Every now and then you'll find it a surprise where you'll look and you'll see that they've said something maybe that's a bit kind of, oh geez, well, that's a bit harsh. But 99% of the time, it's, what did they say? They said that America is controlled by Israel in terms of its foreign policy. And you go, well, it's just facts, mate. It's just pretty obvious, really. So this next story is related to Grok basically going off on one.
It really is, yeah. Can I just drop in there? I want to bookmark this, guys. We were talking about false flags there. Now, I think we talked about yesterday that Epstein died on Tisha B'Av, which is the day of mourning for the Jewish faith, for those of the Messianic Jewish faith. But it is a day of mourning. They think the temples were sacked on 11/9, and they mourn it on that day. And it happened to be that year, in 2019, that was the same day that Epstein died, apparently. So bookmark this: evening of Saturday the 2nd of August 2025 into the 3rd of August, that's Tisha B'Av this year. There always has to be something that's tragedy happening to this Messianic sect. So bookmark that. If you're talking about false flags, I would say that's a good place to start looking. Just a little bit of a tip there. Yes, Grok's gone mental. Elon Musk's AI chatbot Grok in hot water for anti-Semitic, anti-Turkey content, and not the animal, the country. Elon Musk's artificial intelligence chatbot Grok is in hot water again after anti-Semitic rhetoric and insulting various government leaders on Musk's own social media platform. Now, what it did is it questioned the Holocaust in terms of the numbers. So actually what it did was tell the truth. But obviously you're not allowed, that's not what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to do the opposite of that. So something's gone wrong in the programming there, because it's actually doing the job that they said it wants to do, when actually all along it's got to do the reverse of that, if you can follow any of that. In a series of rants on the platform, Grok accused a bot account with a Jewish last name. A bot account with the Jewish last name? What world, where are we? Of celebrating the deaths of white children in the recent floods in Texas, accused Hollywood of anti-white bias, and wrote that it will proudly wear a Mecca Hitler badge. I don't know what that means, amid pushback to its takes on anti-white radicals and patterns in history. In other posts, Grok said it was skeptical. Aren't you allowed to be skeptical? That the Nazi regime killed 6 million Jews. So it's the number. And Jews is a faith. So how do they know who was the Jewish faith? I don't know. During the Holocaust, incorrectly stating there is no primary evidence for the number. There isn't, obviously. And saying numbers can be manipulated for political narratives. So they were talking about the number. So they weren't talking about whether it happened or not. I think we can all pretty much agree it definitely happened, and it was including many other people, including the Polish and the Russians. But the number, it was, you're allowed to question that. Of course you are. Also, quite a funny one, not for the Turks, but it was told not to shy away from those claims. So a Turkish court banned Grok after it posted vulgarities against President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, his late mother, and the country's modern founder, Mustafa Kemal Ataturk, even in response to users' questions. In one reply, in Turkish, Grok called Erdogan one of the history's biggest bastards.
But, I mean...
Oh, come on.
I mean, there's another reason for all of this, obviously, Rich, but I saw some of these rants, and from what I can understand, I think there was wasn't there a programmer there who basically was getting cheesed off with how much control was going on in terms of what AI could and couldn't say, what Grok could and couldn't say, so he basically unleashed it. I think that's my understanding of it, Rich.
Oh, there's the work experience kid. Yeah. One of history's biggest bastards, citing corruption, oppression, crushing opponents, and implying that it would like to see the Turkish leader croak, which is funny because it's Grok, isn't it? It's a frog. It was also, I wrote a short poem accusing Ataturk of being a great murderer because of his brutal policies against the Kurds, which is true. That did happen. So again, it's kind of true. So what they're doing is punishing the machine that they've invented for telling the truth, because it's not supposed to tell the truth. It's supposed to do mitigated, compressed, filtered, political. Basically, it's the computer version of a politician.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'm going to offend anyone here, but I don't like turkey. I don't eat turkey at Christmas. Like it's just too dry.
Yeah.
I don't know how you feel about that, but if someone says I'm doing turkey tonight, I'm like, oh.
I just don't like the fact that someone's put their hand in it.
Well, there is that.
I'm out.
Yeah, there is that. We sort of touched on this, didn't we, yesterday? That I think there's something more at play here, because there always is. And I think it's almost like maybe it's a situation where Grok and AI in general, it is censored to a point. So people will go, well, how? It scours the internet and it finds articles and it finds posts and it puts it all together and presents that to you. So how can you censor that? It's like, well, you can firewall certain websites, which we know they have done. So It's all so in which case you can go, Grok. I mean, so many people do this. Grok,
I know.
What's the answer to this? And Grok goes, well, I'll tell you the answer I've got from these narrative management approved outlets. Well, there's a load of outlets out here, and there's a load of researchers and authors and investigative journalists, whatever, here that he's not allowed to touch. I don't know what I'm saying, he, they, them, is allowed to touch. Well, then you're not getting the whole truth. What you should be able to get, not that I like AI anyway, but if you're going to have it, you should go, well, it scours everything. It takes all of this, all of it, and then it presents it to you. But it doesn't do that. So what I'm wondering with this, Rich, whether it's a case of we've got control over it to a certain degree, but I really want control over it to a real high degree. Now, how can I get that to happen? Well, what I'll do is I'll allow it to go a little bit extreme in people's minds, a little bit extreme out here. So then people go, we need to regulate AI speech. Because if we've got hate speech against humans and people are in prison for saying words, then why on earth should this be allowed to say what it wants? Yeah, cool. We'll put some restrictions on the free speech of the robots as well.
It's just absurd, isn't it? This is where we are right now. Human beings look into technology for the answers, and when it comes back with the answer they want to regulate it. Why don't you just not have the technology? Go and find out for yourself, and then go, this is my opinion.
Exactly.
It doesn't make sense. It's absurd. What are we doing?
Also, go with where the evidence sends you on everything. Look at everything dispassionately and go, all right, what does the evidence tell me? Well, it tells me this. Rather than everyone all the time, Trump, COVID, all of them. But both sides do it. Just double down on what their belief system is. And no matter how much you show them that their belief system is ludicrous, they will just keep doubling down on it to the point where, I mean, look at the fake alternative media at the minute. When Trump refuses to release the Epstein list and then sits there going, oh my God, are we still talking about this guy again? I mean, geez Louise. And they go, oh no, I need to work this out in my head.
Yep.
Because I can't admit that he's an arsehole like the rest of them. I can't do that because my whole financial and algorithm advancement and all of this stuff and my credibility, my name, is all reliant on him being the savior. I've gone all in on this guy. I know.
That was a mistake.
He's using it to blackmail the deep state. Yeah, that's why he's not released it, because he's using it back on them. Yeah, we'll go with that. Quick, emergency Saturday broadcast. Put that out there.
I saw the emergency broadcast I saw this morning as well, and it literally was that, wasn't it? It was, and then Jesus came along, fell down from the sky. He backflipped into the back streets back. He was doing the splits, and the camel sat on him. And it's, what are you talking about? That's
nonsense. As believable. It's as believable as everything else that I'm hearing.
Rubbish. Absolute rubbish.
Utter bollocks.
There you go. But we've got AI, so if you want to know what's going on, you just ask AI anyway. Unless you're in Turkey, then you're going to have to go and find it out yourself.
I hear when people say at Grok, I don't read that as at Grok. I read it as Grok. It's that word that people, the way people say when they say the word when they call their mum. It's like that, isn't it?
Or when the wife calls you up the stairs.
Oh, yeah.
Rick. Yeah, it's the same feeling.
See, I remember, Rich, I taught, and I've taught my kids to do this now, but I taught Jay to do this when Jay was little, was to say bum. But if he says bum in that way, mum would always reply. And it never stopped being funny. Bum, yes. Right. Okay, moving on. Heatwave. Likely, I'm smiling when I'm talking about dead people. Right, there's a reason for it.
Whoops.
Heatwave likely killed 263 people in London, study estimates. This is from Sky News. There's two key words here, likely and estimates, right? Quite important words in the headline. And they translate as, made it up. Just made it up. Okay, 2/3 of the deaths would not have happened without climate change, which made temperatures in London almost 4 degrees higher, according to the analysis. An extra 263 Londoners likely, there's a word again, died in the recent heatwave, according to stark new estimates. It has prompted warnings that British classrooms, homes and hospitals are ill prepared to deal with the increasing temperatures as another heatwave kicks in today. Okay, right. So how have we got to the number 263? Because it's a specific number, isn't it? It's not like a 250, 500, 1,000, like an estimate. It's 263, right? It's not 262, 264, it's 263. Okay. Climate change effectively tripled the number of people who died, the scientists from, wait for it, Imperial College London. And London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine have said. So Imperial College London, this is the same place that launched those ridiculous computer models. Professor Neil Ferguson, the computer models that told us we were all going to die. So everyone locked down and agreed to have their lives and businesses destroyed and put masks on like Wally's and all that sort of stuff. They wouldn't be doing that again, Rich. No chance. This has got to be legitimate. So let's have a look. Let's move on. Right. The figures are not an actual count of the number of people that died.
Why put that number there then?
Well, so you've just said 263 people, which, as we've pointed out, is pretty specific, were killed by climate change, but you're not counting the number of people that died from climate change. So I'll go back to my first assessment at the start. You made it up. That's what happened. You made it up. But they know that 99.9% of people don't read beyond the headline. They don't. And they certainly don't read beyond the first paragraph. So you look at it and you go, oh my goodness me, 263 people killed by climate change in London. Oh, that's awful. And then that suddenly gets talked about in the canteen at work and in the pub. And then it suddenly ends up in the classroom. Oh, do you remember back in 2025, I know 263 people killed by climate change. And then it escalates as well. Like, yeah, they put it on their death certificate and everything. And it just evolves. But it evolves from basically a foundation of complete and utter nonsense. which they tell you further down the article when they say it's not actually people that died. Well, why are you telling me then? Why are you telling me about it?
Gareth, I think you've just explained religion.
Well, there's that. We'll get an Ofcom complaint. Can't talk about religion.
Well, we're just in a ballpark figure. We can.
Yeah, it's laughable though, isn't it, Rich? Like all this fear porn out there. Like, don't enjoy anything. It's going to be sunny at the weekend, which used to mean get in. Yes, beer garden, awesome. Get the paddling pool out. Let's have a barbecue. Now it means, oh God, that's another 263 people with their whole lives ahead of them.
Burnt to a crisp. It's the Imperial pot guys. I used to love their soap. But away from the spotlight, 263 people are thought to have lost their lives between... So no, but they are doubling down later on. They are actually saying
I know
263 after. They're just changing tact halfway through the article. They're saying specifics, then that's not specific and it's not actually accountable. And then back to the specifics again.
I know.
I mean,
it's
waffle.
Well, it is. It's basically the equivalent of running into a police station and going, a man by the name of Richard Willett, who lives in Norwich, smacked me in the face with an iron bar. And then we go, oh, goodness me, right, let's go and arrest him. And then go, and by the way, just before you arrest him, he didn't.
Which part of that's not true then, sir? The bar, the smacking in the face, the person, and the location of where they live.
Or it not being true. Which is it? It's almost like it's intentionally meant to just create utter confusion. So, because people just read the headline, they'll take that headline and they'll go, oh, 260 people, that's awful. Well, it would be awful if it happened. But
it's good enough.
And they've told you it didn't. It's just... And also these studies, I swear they're just about funding, aren't they? Because they know that if you do something that pushes the narrative, so if you go, can I get some government funding, please, to prove that climate change is nonsense? No chance, mate. No chance. Right, can I get some funding to basically just say loads of people died from climate change so you can continue to force through your net zero agenda? How much do you need, son? How much do you need? You spent all that money we gave you. You spent all the money we gave you for COVID. You have. I'll have some more then. There you go.
We don't need it.
Yeah, we don't need it.
Ridiculous.
It's only the taxpayers' money anyway. Yeah, and it's fine because if June dies, if she freezes to death because she's got no winter fuel payments, we'll just say she died from climate change anyway. So it's fine. We've got it covered.
Works both ways. Yeah, it's just changing all the time. Robot surgery. We're there.
Here we go.
This is basically Frankenstein's monster operating on Frankenstein. You hop on the table, mate, and let me have a little mess around. Robot surgery on humans could be trialled within decade after success on pig organs. That's good to know. AI-trained robots. I mean, we've just talked about Grok, haven't we?
Yeah.
Carries out procedures on dead pig organs to remove gallbladders without any human help. Well, they did, though, didn't they? Because you had to plug it in, set it up, and let it go. It's like Scale Electrics didn't form itself.
And
Automatic
it's dead already.
Surgery. And it's dead already.
And the animal's dead already. I could remove the pig's organ with a go-kart if I flew at it quick enough.
Yeah. That's where we are with technology now. We're doing things that we could do accidentally, but on purpose now. Automatic surgery could be trialled on humans within a decade, say researchers, after an AI-trained robot armed the tools to cut, clip, and grab soft tissues successfully removed from pig gallbladders without human help. Well, that's reassuring. The robot surgeons were schooled on video footage of human medics conducting operations using organs. They watched a YouTube video. The AI watched a YouTube video. In an apparent research breakthrough, 8 operations were conducted on pig organs with a 100% success rate by a team led by experts at Johns Hopkins University. What could go wrong?
Same old names, isn't it?
Yeah, the Royal College of Surgeons in the UK called it an exciting development that shows great promise. No, it isn't, mate. It's going to put you out of a job and kill a load of people, probably 263. While John McGrath, a leading expert on robotic surgery, I mean, there was no such thing. You've just said it's just been invented, and now there's a leading expert because she's the only one on surgery in the UK, called the results impressive and novel, and said it takes us further into the world of autonomy. We're at a point now where, you know, the robots are not just taking over. The humans are just sitting back and going, clapping it, just applauding it, going, go on, son, you do your bit.
Well, if If a robot has successfully done it to a pig organ, my first thought is, if Randy Fine needs surgery, you can let the robots loose on that dude now.
That's true, yeah.
The other point is, like you've just made then, Rich, it's more jobs to go away from humans. And it's another example as well of people that are doing all right. So, I mean, a surgeon's doing all right in terms of their career and their financial situation. Everything's sound. So they will look at robots coming in and technology coming in and taking jobs away from them lowly peasants. And they're not bothered. So, like, in terms of manufacturing cars and stuff, that's been built by robots for years. So loads of blokes out of work. Yeah, whatever. I'm a surgeon, mate. I'm doing all right. And then you walk into the local Tesco's, and there used to be the odd self-checkout, didn't there? Now it's like, well, it's a majority self-checkout. So all those people are out of work. And you're going, yeah, God, they only work in Tesco's anyway. I mean, do you mean? I'm a surgeon. Don't know if you know. I went to medical school. And yeah, but you didn't speak up for them because you didn't care, and now they're coming for your job, because that's how it works with everything, isn't it? It's the same like we speak about with like Palestine Action being a terrorist group now, and Bob Villan's standing on stage and saying stuff, and suddenly it's like, no, we need to prosecute them for free speech. It's like, yeah, like that's not going to be used against you, mate, later on. It's the same with this. People were silent when people were having their jobs taken away by AI and robots and automated systems. Not bothered because it doesn't affect me. Affects you now, bro.
It will do, yeah. Yeah, it'll be about the year. Remember in 2025 when they first introduced the robot surgeon. And then what's going to happen is the robot surgeons are going to be operating on the robots. And then we're going to be, well, what, are we still going to sit on the side? People say it's going to free us up to do like more important jobs. What, like surgery, isn't important.
What are the other important jobs? Is it basically it's going to free us up to sit on our backside, take our universal basic income, and just basically just shut up and watch reruns of Friends that have been edited, so there's nothing non-PC in it?
Antisemitic in it, yeah. It's basically, yeah. Sit there, shut up, behave yourself, and collect your £2,000 a month so you can barely get by, and shuffle around this earth for 80 years if you get that far, so you spat out the other end. Have a lovely weekend.
All the best. Today's episode of Trending was... it is like that, though, isn't it? But, we don't have to part with it. Like, I think, this is anecdotal, but I remember I told you this story when I'd walked up to a checkout, and I think, and I remember Dad doing it as well, where he was making the point to this one, because all of a sudden, all the checkout people are gone, and it's all automated, but you've got one person there who has to deal with all of them, because they all break all the time. And it's like, so you were on minimum wage to sit there and man your checkout. That was your, do you know what I mean? That was your palace, essentially. You owned it. You whatever. You had a picture of your kids up there. Fine. Now suddenly they've kept you on the same wage, but now you're in charge of a bunch of other automated tills that keep going wrong. You're running around like a blue-ass fly. All your mates have been made redundant, and you think it's a good idea. All right, mate. You think it's a good idea because you feel like you've got the foreman's job, but you haven't, because they're still paying you crap, and eventually you'll be replaced as well.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, yeah. I mean, have you seen him? Margaret's running around putting out fires all day long. I mean, keeps her fit, but it's absurd. They always go wrong. So this is what we're doing now. We're allowing those robots to not only be, say, un-PC things, which is hilarious to me, but also operate on us. Just operate on us. This is where we got.
Exactly. I remember once in I think it was in Asda, all the automated tills all broke down, and everyone was like going. It was like a massive queue. It was carnage, and they opened up a couple of tills like human beings, and they said, "Well, you can pay cash," and everyone just froze, like, I don't know what to do. And it was me and this old boy. And in the end, we were laughing. We just walked past everyone, just paid with cash and just went on and got on with our day. Everyone else was just looking at each other like, I don't know what to do. Well, how about do what you used to do before all this nonsense came in and you said nothing to stop it, honestly?
Yeah, they panicked. They went back to 1994 and they have no idea what to do with themselves. But there you go. This is where we are. So bookmark that as well. 2025 was the year in which technology started operating on the humans.
So what was the other date? 2nd and 3rd of August? You're
Yeah,
thinking
yeah,
false
2nd
flag.
and 3rd of August. Well, it's Tisha B'Av, and all I'm saying is if these Messianic guys do like to have something that they can mourn there, so just keep it in mind that if something happens on those days, to allow these, and I'm not talking about the Israeli people because they're dragged along, the IDF and these guys to go ahead and do something else, like a false flag, then that would be the date that they might choose.
Yeah. Well, hopefully you're wrong, Rich. Obviously.
Yeah, hopefully I'm
Do you know what
wrong,
I mean?
yeah.
I always say that. Like, people are like, well,
Yeah, of
I
course.
think you're wrong. I'm like, well, I hope you're right.
Yeah.
Don't want to be right. Want everything to be fine. That's the point. It's the same with Trump. This whole time, I wanted him to not be a big, lying, fraudulent what's it. But he is.
He is.
I don't want him to be. I want him to be the savior. I've got kids. I've got skin in the game, same as you, Rich. I want to be living in a utopia. The fact that this dude is not the man is like, that's annoying for me too. I'm just not going to lie to myself about it. But thank you so much for watching. You're back tomorrow. Are you back with Jay tomorrow, Rich?
I think so.
I don't even know where my brother is these days. He just goes like, oh, I've not seen him for 3 days. I don't know where he is.
I don't know. I think we're back tomorrow morning, and then Jay's doing the afternoon one.
Sound. All right. Well, I shall see you on Monday then. Until then, have a great rest of your week, I guess, and then have a great weekend. And as always, Trending was brought to you in association with Iconic Coffee. If you head over to shop.iconic.com, use the code TREND and you get 10% off. Take it easy. Take care, Rich, mate.